Let us begin with the invocation. Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Vasudevam Sutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagatgurum Krishnam Vande Jagatgurum. Hari Om. Yes.
Hari Om.
Okay. Hari Om Badrinaranji. Hari Om. Yes. Can anyone recollect what is it that we have seen? Anything what you have yesterday in our last session? Hari Om Kilkaniji. Yes. Can someone recollect what is it that we have seen last? As usual, we have to form the link. Yes.
Can I?
Yes, of course, Om Prakashji. Most welcome.
No, if anybody else wants to do it, I have no issue.
Yes.
Basically, the 16th Adhyay talks about the nature of the persons, that is, divine natures and demonic nature. The first 6 shlokas. Badrinaranji wants to talk?
Maybe after you continue, you can say and then he will add to what you are saying. Yes, sir.
So demonic nature, first 6 shlokas, the divine nature was explained by the Krishna. Now, in the last this session, basically demonic nature was talked about by the Krishna. He says that demonic nature people are ignorant of the right action, basically. They don't have knowledge, nor they, seek knowledge also. And they do not know the sacrifice. And such people cannot be trusted for anything, because they feel there is no God, no truth. The desire is only their foundation. They move around the desire. That is like dog chasing his own tail,
Yes.
Something like that. They perceive that life is a falsehood. They actually destructive nature is there, or they injure themselves, and their ankar and lust is never quenched.
Okay.
They want to grab more and more power. They are plagued by worries. They want more wealth and possession, mountain of possession, basically. They feel always that I am the supreme, and I'll eliminate all the enemies one by one. I am rich and rich and wealthy. Everyone else is a poor. That is what their thinking is, and they end into the hell. Their offerings are for
they
just
end in the
for
hell in the Om Prakashji. In what is the meaning of this? They end in hell in the sense it is afterlife, or what we talk about, or life becomes hell.
Life becomes hell, basically.
Life becomes hell. Okay.
Yeah. And they insult the divines within others as well as within themselves also.
Okay, ji. Okay, so this is Asuri Pravruti, what we saw.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Om Prakashji. Badrinaranji, would you like to add to something what Om Prakashji has shared? Would you like to add something more? Or your any other perspectives? Yes, sir. Please.
Only one thing.
Yes, ji.
Only one thing. Since they are uncaring of the God present in others and also in themselves, the soul is overshadowed by the Nirgun, and the Atman becomes powerless and subdued, and Atman has no say in the matter. That's
okay. And rather than overshadowed by Nirgun, we can say by the gunas, and especially the tamas guna overpowers such a person. It over tamas and rajas, because when rajas increases, anger increases. Okay. Yes. And such a person is then wasting a precious, beautiful life. I think life is meant for being blissful, isn't it?
Yeah.
We have to, that is a blessing of life. Instead, we lose that in these Asuri Svabhava. If we recollect, Bhagavad Gita began with one important principle. Do not discriminate, not between others and ourselves. First shloka says, Mamakaha Pandavaschaiva. And don't say this is person is that person is others, this is mine. Otherwise, Mahabharata is created. Elsewhere, we saw one more shloka, Na Buddhi Bhedam. Krishna is saying, don't create a divide. Don't create a divide in the minds of the ignorant person. But my question is, if we understand that these are all demonic qualities, and then when we look at such a person, is Krishna trying to build a superiority complex in someone who is having divine qualities? What could be the logic behind this? Anybody? Means why is Krishna describing all of these demonic qualities? People with demonic qualities will not pick up Bhagavad Gita, isn't it? They will not feel the need to sit and study an ancient scripture. Yes, Padinaji, you want to add? Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is basically as we said in many times, that some qualities are also there in good individuals, and
Sorry, sir, your voice broke, sir. Some qualities.
Some qualities are always like some part, like many have also added. There are some qualities, partly are there, partly are not there. There are
inside
some
of
qualities,
us only. Inside of us.
Inside of us.
Achha.
So Lord Krishna is trying to tell us, those who are going on that goodness path can also have such virtues to some extent or the other, and they should eliminate that in order that they move to the higher consciousness.
Okay, this is a nice answer that yes, like a yogi is always on self-purification, wanting to remove. I want to help the world. Before that, I will start reducing all the wrong inside of me, and that will manifest. That is what a yogi thinks. But again, if we look at Krishna quickly tells Arjuna, don't be worried. When Arjuna probably is worried when Krishna says, like Abhiman, Ahankar, all of these are the qualities of Asuric nature. Suddenly Arjuna feels, am I Asuric? Krishna says, don't worry Arjuna, you are not Asuric, you are a divine person. That means he's clearly told Arjuna that you have a divine nature. And here, unlike the gunas, we are told predominantly a person is having a Devi Swabhav or Asuri Swabhav. One answer Badrinathji has told us that is right, one part. We can remove what is wrong in us. Why not? Well, there's no limit of becoming better. The more you become better, the greater the quality of life, the greater the experience, the greater the, what we can say, you can savor the divine moments in life with your near ones, dear ones, loved ones, experience some higher bliss also. But there is one more important aspect. Why Krishna is introducing this is just like how Arjuna is entering into Kurukshetra and watching Duryodhana also, watching all the Kauravas, watching his own gurus behave such different way. Don't we think we are also in a sort of a Kurukshetra in our world? When we go with certain ideals, don't we agree? How many of us agree that yes, it is a Kurukshetra, our life also, when we have to hold on to our ideals. Sometimes we get shocked. Yes, sir, Om Prakash ji?
No, just simple example came to my mind. Many times what happens, you stand on a signal, because it is red. There is nobody crossing, but then what happens? Somebody behind you, somebody will go on honking the horns.
Yes.
And then, you tend to
do that. Okay, you tend to cross because
along with others. Though you don't want to cross you don't want to cross, but such these things are always happening. Many times, because he comes in the wrong direction, you have to also sometimes take the wrong way just to avoid that. Though we don't mean that, or
okay,
our
sir.
nature is not that.
Yes, sir. So the point, sir, Om Prakash ji, the point you are making.
The point is this, that even in divinity, sometimes desire can get hold of you.
Okay, yes. Do we get shocked in the world though that we are facing? Like sometimes we feel people, देखो कैसी दुनिया है, कैसे कैसे लोग यहाँ. There's a nice kawali only. He's singing to the divine. He's like, देखो कैसी दुनिया है, कैसे कैसे लोग यहाँ, इनकी हकीकत को पहचाना नहीं रे नहीं. He goes on saying that no, look at this world, look at the people. They're all selfish. People come and the person who is being selfless is going to be targeted by everybody. He will feel like Arjuna. He is having an ideal. He or she, of course, is having an ideal. And when they hold on to that ideal in their heart and they try to manifest it, All directions they get surrounded. Like now, this ideal is only going to be crushed. How do we deal? How do we go on? And sometimes it becomes too much. Look at Arjuna, what he was feeling. He felt enough of everything. Enough. I cannot stand anymore. So then Krishna came to his rescue, started telling things which will slowly raise his consciousness. Now Krishna has already parted a high wisdom to him. Now he's talking about the practical aspects. See, why is this happening? Sometimes it's important to understand also why is your enemy doing in a particular way. When you understand the rationale, you understand the logic, probably you are able to find a solution. Something like that, Krishna has talked about this, how the Asuri Swabhav, how it happens. Having atheistic thoughts is not a problem. But the day you stop questioning and then you start ridiculing and mocking somebody who is having satisfaction in some theism, maybe monotheism, maybe polytheism, whatever it is, you're getting a joy in hurting somebody. Is that a right thing? That is wrong. So that is how the Asuri Swabhav starts taking control. Initially, they start mocking the existence of the divine. Then they start mocking the existence of a higher truth. They say, what is the need for a higher truth? There is no higher truth in this organization. This company is like this. I saw a beautiful t-shirt with some things written on it. On it was written that if you want loyalty, go hire a dog. Now, where is this? Where is the which employee will last in an organization with such kind of attitude? Even the HR recruiters will want. Everybody wants some. There is some sutra, isn't it? Some dharma. Something has to be held. But somebody who has risen is above this consciousness will only understand. Otherwise, in the Asuri nature, the person cannot understand. There is no higher God. There is no higher truth. When there is no higher truth, something must be there, because even a thief has an objective, isn't it? His objective is to steal. Like that, the Asuri nature is having only one objective. It is desire. Desire is the objective, and this is the entire fall, because desires don't get fulfilled. They lead to more desires. This is how it is called Asha Pasha Shatair Baddhaha. Means 100 bonds of desire. I like the person on the cycle wants a two-wheeler, the one on a two-wheeler wants a probably higher geared motorcycle. The one on the motorcycle wants a car. The one who is having an ordinary car wants a luxury car. The person inside the luxury car looks at the sky and says, this aeroplane is good. I better have a chartered flight of my own. And the person who is getting tired traveling the chartered flight, I wish I could just walk on the road happily and alone in a freedom. So everywhere desire will never get fulfilled, but the person who is trapped begins to think that way. And what happens is, it is like a addiction. It is like a lust. You chase after it. The person feels alive only while he's chasing. After getting it, it's of no value. It's like Midas having the golden touch. Whatever he touched turned to gold. Could he eat gold? No, he asked for a wrong boon and he got that boon, and then he was cursing it because it was absolutely useless. So something like that, when you get into the habit of running after desires, you are never calm, you are never peaceful. A yogi can sit alone and be happy also. But somebody who is insecure with a lot of desire always wants people around. Sometimes even when people are heads of organizations, they surround themselves with yes men or yes women, what we call echo chambers. Whatever you say is, you are brilliant, very good, you are correct. This was the best thing. No, our company had a loss, but it was required. This was market condition. Losses had to happen this year. Don't worry. You are only doing correct. They'll keep boost. Like this is what a person wants, always wants some gratification. And still at the end of the day, at the end of the night, when he goes to sleep, when he's alone, he has to take some pills to sleep, or he knows that these people are not truthful. They are just on going to keep boasting about my greatness, whether or not they believe it. I can't rely on them. So such is the nature of an individual who is driven by desires, and it is a sad state. It is a state of somebody who is addicted, like a narcotic addiction. Desire takes control. So what happens then? Step by step, slowly this person starts thinking, I am so great. There's somewhere, how do I keep myself occupied? I have wealth. Let me display my wealth to others, or let me use, people start collecting different things. In Africa, there was the wealthiest man in a country, I'm not able to recollect the name of that country. It was an African nation. There, this man had so much wealth, but he suddenly felt, I don't have any wealth, because there only zeros are getting added on his bank account. he is not feeling like he had wealth. So what he did, he had this ritual. Every year on one day, he would go to the bank, withdraw all the cash he has, take it to his home, touch and feel the notes, because he wanted to feel, I have this wealth, it is not only in the bank. And then he would go and deposit it again. Now, isn't it silly? Isn't it a little silly to feel that you have this? It's ultimately, at the end of the day, born from dust, will return to dust. What is going to happen? Means, if you see, after everything, Asthi will go in a small urn only, isn't it? Whether or not I have so much properties or I have no property, it does not matter. It is going to ultimately go. So this aspect, a person who is driven by desire does not understand. So he wants to keep accumulating a mountain of possessions. I have 20 shirts, I need to get 20 more. I have 30 shoes, I will get 30 more. I want to create a separate museum of the shoes that I have had. Or maybe next socks also. People have some strange collections. Very strange, but these are all vain desires trying to keep that person satisfied. But the problem is, it is never going to give Ananda. Trupti is never going to come to such a person. And this is this sad plight. And what happens then? Then as they grow here, they say, why people say stay away from money? Because money sometimes leads to desires. Because with money, you are able to easily get what you are desiring. And then you get trapped in desire. You want to you get corrupted by this, power. I want to hold control over people. Can we control a person with money only? Yes or no? Can we control a person? Absolutely. We can get somebody to do our bidding. But can we completely control a person with wealth only? It's not possible at all. Each individual is a different soul. Maybe that person's swartha, you have found the sutra and you are, manipulating that. But you will never be able to permanently manipulate such a person. Tomorrow, anybody who is being manipulated will revolt, isn't it? That will happen sometime or the other. So these are not forces, the forces of control, forces of domination, forces of ahankar. This keep on controlling, and a person with the Asuri nature keeps on growing these qualities only. He even tries to eliminate enemies. Problem is, we cannot eliminate enemies. We can come to terms with, this is the attitude of such a person, I will have protection. But I can't hire a squad to eliminate my enemies. What's going to happen? As I eliminate one enemy, that enemy will create another enemy. And then tomorrow I'll have so many more enemies than I would have even imagined. It's like slaying Hydra. The heads will keep appearing one after the other. New heads keep appearing. Something like that. But the person does not understand when this is Maya. This is the Moha. Moha Jala Saman. This is the Moha Jala which a person is trapped in. Imagine if everything goes well in your life according to your wish. Would it be a very good thing, or you would think maybe it's nice, but there are certain things which, in our life, if you just look back, has something gone against you and helped you later? Actually, that thing which went against you helped you. Has anybody had any such experience? Yes. Something which went against your will, but helped you afterwards. Anybody, if you can share any example, if you can. Because everything happens according to your will. You will not be the same person you are. So many experiences have come, bitter experiences. If you just go back, so many things happen. How is this? What is this? Palpitation, frustration, anger, all these. And then finally you come to terms. Well, that is at least you're experiencing the karmic consequences. But somebody who is in moha, or we can say in the lust of desire, who's in that trap, that person does not experience the consequences. He keeps on losing things, but still it goes on. He's always there. It's like a friend of mine, he kept smoking so much in college that he started coughing out blood in the 4th year. And then he started taking God's name everywhere. Now, the first 3 years, so many people came, told him, elders told him, friends told him, don't smoke, don't do this much. What you are doing is bad, it's not good. He didn't realize it. Well, this is exactly what we can say. The addiction happens like that. There is an addiction of power also. There's an addiction of wealth also. There's an addiction of self. What we can say, selfishness also. And in that day, you don't realize what's happening to you. Sometimes it's too late. This is what happens. Such a person, ahankar is there in their yagna also. Ahankar is there in the dana also. Charity should be done very quietly. So secretly, it is said in the state, I think in many regional languages, what is given by the right hand, even the left hand should not know. That is charity. That is done secretly, quietly. But when ahankar is there, everywhere, more than the act of doing, it is the individual that takes precedence. There's a beautiful Hindi saying where one poet was asked, why are your eyes down while you are offering something? That time he gives a beautiful reply. It's like you have done some good work, you are helping somebody, or you are giving some donation. Why are your eyes down? That time, because he's not feeling ashamed, that's why he's down. He's understanding, see, I'm much more privileged than the person who is receiving it. And it's not something so great that I have done. There are so many factors. So he says, Dene wala koi aur hai. Bhej to jo din rain log bharam hum par kare tako niche nain. Look, everybody's praising me, but see, I've got it from somebody else. I am not the owner. Now that is humility. But somebody with ahankar, no, this person becomes the most important. Such a person is having always Ishvaroham aham bhogi. I am God. Now we have so much wealth. What was Hiranyakashipu feeling? Same thing only. I am God. There is no Narayana. What a useless thing it is to have pray for Narayana. Because everything I can get with my own health, with my own power, with my own brute strength. There's nobody who can destroy me. Well, this is the ego trip which we say that controls a person completely. I am the real enjoyer also. Nobody knows to enjoy like me. And such a person is always trapped in confusion. There's no peace on the inside. Always is somebody challenging my superiority. When they walk around also, they're not at peace. Did that person tell something to hurt me or try to say he's better than me? I need to teach that person a lesson and show the place where that person belongs. These are all asuric thoughts which govern a person. Ultimately, such a person cannot experience peace. And the problem is till the last minutes, they don't let go of that. This is vanity controls them completely. They have a lot of egoism, a lot of arrogance, and mind is driven by desire. Now, my question is, we have told desires don't get fulfilled. Can someone tell me what happens when desire doesn't get fulfilled? What is the experience? Yes? Yes, Shivaji?
Disappointment.
Okay, disappointment. Okay, that is one. Any other emotion comes to mind? Yes,
Anger.
Rachna ji?
Anger.
Okay, Usha ji said anger. Yes, Rachna ji and Rekha ji both were writing. Rachna ji, yes?
Frustrations and sometimes loss of faith in the self and in God.
Yes, frustration, loss of loss of confidence in oneself also and others also. Doubts come in, relationships get spoiled because of this sanshaya. All of this is a trap because I want my partner to behave in this particular way. And this person is not behaving. That creates a frustration. Now I know why that person is not behaving. That person was meeting that other person. I saw it with my own eyes. Many times there is nothing like that. It is just a creation of Brahma. Brahma is what? We don't have to think about somebody putting a magic spell over someone or some tantric throwing some mantra onto someone and causing effect. This is the problem. Today it was my experience. I met with a local gunda. It's not a happy experience though. But that person was behaving in a very wrong manner. But unfortunately, I had no option because our paths crossed after many years and he was creating a trouble. So while I was just seeing to him, I had a big question. I was like, what is the use of Vedantic truth when you are dealing with this kind of person? That time I remembered this Adhyay only. Because what happens is that person, why is he behaving? He is behaving with his ahankar. Ahankar will make him talk most disrespectfully, lower most things. But here, if that ahankar triggers the ahankar inside of me, then it is going to cause anartha only. Because I will not go to that patalyan, that direction of him, and I will not have people behind me to come and deal. And so there I just realized, yes, Vedanta is very practical. People say Vedanta is high philosophical. No, because they don't want to go too deep. Vedanta is very, very practical. It talks to us about how we have to keep that balance in life also. Understand why Krishna is telling this Adhyay also is because in our Vishwa, we will meet Asuri Pravritti. It is going to be a part. Yin is there, Yang is also there, isn't it? That is a balance which is taking place. There's a fight from the ancient times. That is what Samudra Manthan takes place, and then only Amrit comes out. Without the fight also of Deva and Asura, which Amrit will come out? How will it come out? When will we see the Mahadev come, and even Nilakantha? When did that name came? Why did that name come? Because that name came after he consumed that poison. If that poison was not there, there will be no Nilakantha, there will be no example of a god taking on this pain of the world. Well, whatever it is, this experience is very natural in the world, but we must understand we cannot fall prey to it because this is a trap. At least let us understand this much, how a trap we can easily fall into it. Always have smaran of the divine, it will actually protect you. That's a very simple way. But such a person, they deride the God in all living beings that resides. Means there is a Bhagwan, there is a Ishvara in every living one, but such a person does not recognize it. And ultimately, even the self, like I think we were shared, confidence. If you don't have confidence in self, whom are you disrespecting if you don't have confidence in yourself? Are we disrespecting our parents? Are we disrespecting our friends? Are we disrespecting our country? Or we are disrespecting humanity? No, we are disrespecting ourselves. The main thing is this. So this happens when it is one's personal ankar has got triggered. We have to keep that aside. We have to understand, I'll have to rise beyond this. Otherwise, what happens? Dire ego is responsible for so many. Juniors get angry and talk to the most senior employee in a manner which immediately terminates their job. And then they regret, I should not have reacted like this. It was just a moment. But now nobody is going to come and tell them, it's okay, I understand. You had moha in that moment, or you were having krodha at that point. That's why you spoke. Nobody is there in the world, isn't it, who's going to understand? And we get that consequence. At least we should understand ourselves. We should treat ourselves with that much respect and not get so disturbed if we do come across this nature. Let us go on. So Krishna says, but there is justice. There is something called divine justice. Our job is not to give divine justice. Arjuna was thinking he is the judge who has to give justice. So he was like, whose case should I fight? So many people are there. All are going to die. All are going to suffer. That created a big problem. He said, I am representative of Sanatan Dharma. Krishna, you're also not fighting. All such thoughts were inside of his head. When he saw Vishwarupa, he closed his hands. He folded his hands and in Namaskar, he says, Sanatanastvam Purusho Matome. You are the Purusha, you are the Sanatan, you are the guardian, you are the upholder of divine justice. Not me, not me. I have to do my duty. So this simple thing is there. Krishna says, karma phala takes place, that divine justice happens. It happens is what Krishna is saying. Tanaham dushataha kruran sansareshu naradhaman shipamyaja sramashubhan asurishveva yonishu. These beings to whom both good and God are detestable. Simple aspect of how do you identify Asuri Sabhav. When anything which is innately good, that is causing disturbance in someone. When something which is pure and divine, that is causing disturbance, you can understand. If you can avoid such company, it is best to avoid, because this person is more prone to such forces. We don't have to paint horns on somebody and call people divine. This person is divine. It's a dynamic world. Good people can also have wrong moments. Bad people can have good moments. And Krishna is there everywhere. But observation, this is important. Krishna says, someone, both good and God are detestable. I hate God. Somebody tells that, let him hate. You don't have to tell him you start loving God or give reasons to love God. Not required. But keep your distance. You can always avoid. As we have seen before, many times in the nature, where there is Asuri Sabhav, there is no faithfulness in the dealings as well. Krishna says, they are the vilest of creatures, inhuman and despicable. Why? Because they try to hurt what is the simple, pure. There is something, isn't it? Purity, where is purity in our life? Can someone tell me? If you can just tell me. If we have to protect it, where is it? We have to first identify that, because Devi Swabhav, we say we want to improve our Teja, sadhana, everything. What is the purity? Where is the purity in our life? Anybody?
In the thought and chitta.
Yes, Dheerajji?
In your thought and chitta.
Okay, in the chitta, in the consciousness. Okay, that is interesting. Yes, but many times we don't realize what is chitta, and chitta is sometimes not fully understood. So where can we find them, if not in the chitta? If we have not recognized the chitta, anybody else would like to add? But that's a correct statement, actually.
In your actions.
Okay, in your actions. Okay, actions also. Sometimes we have doubts. Yes, who is speaking? Rachna ji. Yes, ji. Yes, Rachna ji.
I think purity is in the moments when the chit is associated with God, or
Okay, with God. All right. Anybody has got pets at home? Some, you say animals and children, both, they tell truth, they don't lie. Well, like this, there are little moments of divinity. Krishna has already told Vibhuti Darshana. You don't need to see Krishna directly, where you can identify. So one Shraddha Sthana, protect that Shraddha Sthana from any Asuri attack. And Shraddha Sthana must be Pavitra. Many temples have rules. People don't like those rules. But that is the nature of the temple, for they have followed a system. That is their custom for maintaining their purity. They have that right, like that we have our own right to protect ourselves. Hemanji wants to add something? Yes, sir. Yes, ji. Hemanji, do you want to add something? All right, I guess not.
No.
Okay, ji, fine. So this aspect we have to understand. There are if you associate with the divine, you are not going to have any other worry. These attacks also are, you can fend off. Well, this aspect, though, somebody who is associated with only undivine nature, such a person's actions are also divine by that only, those desires only. And Krishna says, these beings I send into the lowest wombs of earth repeatedly. They suffer the pangs of demonic birth. This is not, of course, referring to the general individual. General individual in the sense all of us, we are not, how many of us are murderers? Nobody, isn't it? None of us. We don't belong to that category. That is Asuri. That's why Krishna says, because if we have attended Gita and we have studied Gita for so many days, that itself is an indication that we are having a chitta which is associated with the divine. We are trying to connect with the divine. We are raising our divinity as we connect with the scripture. That is what is one thing special about Gita is more you read, it's like it's okay, don't see Krishna, don't get darshan of Krishna, it's fine. Hold on to Gita, principles will raise your consciousness. Krishna se dosti nahi ki to chalega, Gita se kar lo, काम हो जाएगा, simple everywhere. Well, here, those who are driven by these desires, they unfortunately have to suffer. They suffer the consequences. As in the opening only, Om Prakash ji talked about how Krishna also told that what is going to happen? Naraka. Naraka comes. We don't have to worry about a Naraka afterlife or anything like that. Krishna is not, promising us of some lures of what is going to come after death, or is he scaring us with planting fear inside of us? Because if you do like this, afterwards you will be burning. I'll have a needle and I'll keep poking you. These are all not what Krishna is saying. He's telling life becomes Naraka. And here he says Janma, like we said, there's a cycle of karma, isn't it? It doesn't get over with birth. It's not like reset, refresh. It is a continuation. Such a person who has done such wrong actions, again he has to restart, but he has to restart from that negative part, karma only. That karma will come again behind him. It is a cycle which that person has to break. The cycle of Punarjanma is not an endless loop. It is not a punishment given onto mankind. It is actually a chance for evolution, a chance for, moving ahead. And there is also a different divine plan behind it. But here Krishna says, these actions are going to take person only on that path. Krishna goes on, Asuri myonimapanna mudha janmani mama prapyaiva kaunteya tato yantya dhamam gatim. Ever so deluded are these creatures. They are consumed. Hariom, you are able to hear me, isn't it? I just got a message that I got signed out. Okay, fine. All right, thank you. So ever so deluded are those creatures that are consumed in their own selfish natures. For birth after birth, they find me not, and they sink to the lowest of statures that can be got. Such a person will not find the divine only. So what will such a person find? Only desires. And then it is like desire is a trap. Sometimes the best of relations are where people are, maybe sometimes they just understand each other and they're able to, even without even touching each other, they sit together. Sometimes I've heard of one very old couple. They understand each other. That is all. They now at this age, they don't have to go out anywhere. Youngsters say, don't you do anything very interesting for your life? Don't you go out? Don't you take her out on date? Was the question asked to an old man who was very happy and smiling, but his wife was still blushing when this question was asked. In the post 80s, why should such a person have all of this? Normally, one person will say, life gets boring. They say, no, this is don't get married. This is a useless thing. All this is a very bad life. No, but they're having such a beautiful relation, and that relation is gone because they both have a beautiful same Aradhya, they have a same connection, they have a great understanding with each other. And Krishna also has talked about this higher relationship. This is possible only when you connect with the divine consciousness. Otherwise, it is only the lower reactions, lower actions, anger, desire, frustration. That is the only experience in life for such a person. And it is driven by selfishness only. Krishna, but this Adhyay is specifically talking more about the Asuri nature. Asuri nature are those people who have gone to the other end of the spectrum. When we say one side is Vidya, another side is Avidya. Even in the Ishopanishad, there is the verse which talks about a very bad Andhaha Tamaha Pravishanti Yeke Chahatmano Janaha. Means they go into that darkness, Andhaha Tamaha, that darkness of tamas they experience, and they enter into those dreams. Their life becomes covered by that darkness. Who are these? Those who consciously hurt themselves. Means go against their own divinity inside of them. Those, because the choice is there, isn't it? We always have a choice. There is no statement where we can say we don't have a choice. A friend was saying, I said, how's your birthday? Yesterday I wished my friend happy birthday. What are you celebrating? How are you celebrating? I got a reply from her that I can't celebrate even in my dreams. Then I said, who can come and stop us from dreaming? Is there anybody else from outside who can stop us from dreaming? Or it is us? It is us only, isn't it? That choice remains with us. What to do? Who is going to prevent us? Okay, fine, I had a bad day. I have had a bad birthday, but that didn't stop me from trying to experience what I can. Well, this aspect of choice is always with us. For problem with the Asuri Swabhava is taking the wrong decision. And each time the roads, they always diverge. That time, Vivek Buddhi is driven by this Ahankar, driven by Kama, driven by Krodha, driven by Mada, driven by Moha, driven by Matsar, jealousy also. These are all different shades of just Ahankar only. And that Ahankar leads a person. That person becomes what we can say. In today's world, we don't need to see stories of Pishacha and all. We can see people behaving that way. Don't we see? We hear about cold-blooded murderers. What do we think of such people? Are they human? We say don't insult animals by calling such a person animal. Animals also have what we can say a dharma. All of them live by that code. Well, this is what is happening. This is the Asuri nature which is completely taking control. Krishna is saying such a person is never at peace on the inside. And that is the entire life of a person driven by this. It is hell. This is Naraka which Krishna talks about. The Bhagavad Gita does not instill a fear of heaven, fear of hell or a lure of heaven to do your karma. You have to do it for your own self. But here, what is the Naraka? Real Naraka is when you don't have peace in your life, when you don't have satisfaction. And here, next three shlokas talk about the threefold gates. Trividham Narakasyedam Dwaram Nashana Matmanaha Kama Krodhas Tatha Lobha Tasmadetat Rayam Trajed. Therefore, threefold too are the gates of darkness and destruction that sentence a being into hell's damnation. They create naraka out of your life. There are these three gates Krishna is talking about. Desire, rage, and lust are the accursed three. By renouncing them only can one be free. So desire also has to be renounced. This we learned from the second Adhyay onwards. Initially we were shocked when Krishna said, give up your desires. Then what should we do? What should be our motivation? Then we learned on upholding dharma is not wrong. Doing something for the betterment of the world. So meaning your selfish desires, your selfish aspects have to be driven away. So kama, krodha, and lust, all three are the accursed three. Only when you renounce them, you can be free. Just these three, we can actually do a self-introspection and ask ourselves, which of these three gates are weak inside of me? And what happens, I think, in our border, when we know there is infiltration happening from one side of the border. In Bharat Rashtra, we know that, isn't it? Always infiltration is happening from one side only. So then there's an extra deployment of troops there. Because anytime infiltration can happen. Just like that, which gate is weak, we need to fortify that immediately. Because we don't want Naraka in our life. Naraka is going to come through one of these three gates only, is what Krishna is saying. Desire, rage, and lust. Krishna goes on. But what happens when you have sealed them properly? Then there is somebody else inside. It is Kanaji who sits happily. Because he is also ranchod, isn't it? One gate is open, desire will enter and Kana will run away. That's all. Krodh, the gate is open, again, no experience of Kanaji. Thakurji will not wait in such a place. Then no point inviting or crying that why did he leave? We cannot do anything. Something like that. Etair vimuktaha kaunteya tamodvarais tribhir naraha acharat yatmanaha shreyaha tato yati param gatim. Oh Arjuna, liberated from the doors of darkness. These are the tamadvara. Means this is where tamas is entering into our life. Tamas is what? Illusion, isn't it? We get trapped by these three gates. Oh Arjuna, liberated from the doors of darkness, man can attain a union in my oneness. For then he can journey on his own, alone, reaching the highest status of the soul that is known. This is beautiful aspect, is somebody who is free from all of these three. Such a person is a secure, confident, and quiet individual who can go on a journey, who can go on an adventure even alone. He doesn't have to look, or she doesn't have to look around for, I need some security, some help, somebody will, support me or boost me. Such a person is completely ready. Any corner of the world, that person can stand when that person is free from these three gates. Krishna goes on, Ya Shastra Vidi Mutsrajya Vartate Kamakarataha Nasa Siddhim Avapnoti Na Sukham Na Param Gatim. But he who disregards these rules mandatory, that the golden scriptures deem necessary, follows his desires and reaches the sorry plight of imperfection and sorrow that come in the absence of light. So Krishna says, such a person who does not follow these rules, which are told in these scriptures, which scriptures, where Krishna is always referring to various Sanatan scriptures. He talks about Brahma Sutras also. He talks about some high scriptures. What is the truth? He says, I'll tell you the truth that is present in the Vedas. So he says, this is a simple rule. What is he saying? Shut the gate. He who disregards these rules, who does not accept this, he reaches a sorry plight of imperfection and sorrow. My question is, has Krishna suddenly changed his form and now he is cursing? We talked about Sanatan Dharma having a freedom where people are not cursing. If you don't like what I say, it is okay. Now what is Krishna doing? Is Krishna cursing by saying you don't follow this, you will suffer? Has Krishna suddenly changed his stance? And now we are seeing another here also. It is a YouTube Brutus moment for us. Anybody, what could be this meaning of this? You don't follow the scriptures, you will experience the worst. You'll have imperfection, you'll have sorrow. People say that, isn't it? Sometimes, तुमने ऐसा किया तो तुम्हें कीड़े पड़ेंगे. You will have this trouble, you will have this. So is Krishna also telling something like that, or there is a higher principle here? Anyone? Yes, please. Okay. Yes? Yes, Shivaji, are you speaking? Yes, sir.
Yeah. No, he's not cursing. I mean, all along it's been like that. He's giving cautioning, and he's giving the option that you can do this or that. But if you don't take the right path, then
There's a karmic consequence, isn't it?
Yes,
Karmic
that's right.
consequence. He's saying you do this, you will, if you go on a particular path in this manner, the guide is going to tell you this is how you have to go. If you don't go this way, you will fall, or this road is not right. That is all Krishna is saying. It's not a curse. If you are you want to experience the hard way, you are free to experience the hard way. But Krishna is telling this. When I was very young, I was probably more stupid than what I was now. So one bhaiya told me touch fire. So I went and touched the fire. That was a very stupid thing to do. I burnt my hand. And then I realized this was my experience. This was my anubhav, that if you touch fire, your hand will get burnt. So then I learned this. But my sister was wise. My sister was much wiser than me. She didn't have to go and touch her hand. She's like, this person burnt his hand. I will not make the same silly mistake my brother made. So something like that, here Krishna is given the choice. He's not saying, I order you. You say, no, I want to follow desires. I want to keep little desires. Desires make my life beautiful. Desire and lust is most important. Nowadays, online, I see a lot of my friends talking such things. Well, now they are just graduating from youngsters, especially. Once life changes, isn't it? Then the perspectives change. So right now, the person is full of this, probably a little bit of rajas, and this rajas is creating this feeling inside. But here, Krishna has already told us directly. Krishna has told, follow desires only. Then you go to that sorry plight where slowly, I did so much, still I didn't get. I had to fall, lose it all. It doesn't matter in the end. There's a song also, something, a very famous one, during when I was in college. Well, what is it? Why did I lose everything? Well, because you were only doing everything with ahankar and running after desire. Instead, try doing something selflessly. Try owning nothing. Then you will never lose anything. And everything will keep coming to you and you will experience that trupti. So Krishna tells again in the last, he says, Tasmat Shastram Pramanam Te Karya Karya Vyavasthitau Jnatva Shastra Vidhanoktam Karma Kartum Yaharhasi. Therefore, let the scriptures be your guide. This Adhyay started, isn't it? Where Krishna talked about Devi Swabhava. Studying of scriptures also is important. Why? There are principles. Understand scriptures. It's not about memorizing. Krishna has not told read only the scriptures. Read all scriptures. Scriptures of different cultures also. Study them. No problem. But what should you study? And by their truths may you abide. May you always abide. Understand the truth which is contained in it is what Krishna is saying. Let the scriptures guide you. Understand their truths. And by their truths may you always abide. By understanding them, follow their declaration. In all works and actions, bring forth your emancipation. Follow the scriptures also. Follow the declaration of the scriptures. Don't become a parrot and repeat what is there without, understanding it and there is no point if you understand and don't follow. Isn't it? Practical is so important. If I take 500 classes saying, let us be calm, let us be peaceful, and I am the most unpeaceful person or I'm the most angry person, is it of any use? Yes, it's of no use. It's practically nothing. So here Krishna is saying, understand the principle, understand the scripture, follow it also. Let that scripture be your guide. And in your actions, bring forth that change. Bring forth that change. Vidya vinayena shobhate. Humility is an example of wisdom. It is the adornment of wisdom. Many times you see wise people, well, you can see that this person is truly wise because in the action of that person, you see humility, meaning, oh, this person is learning from even the child. A senior scientist, why should I listen to a child? Because he has understood that I can get an idea from any corner of the world. So there is no big or small. I am open. I am receptive. So something like that. The Shastras also, when we study the Shastra, Let us not use the Shastra for debate and discussion. Let us not use the Shastra for dominating somebody. Let us use the Shastra for our own emancipation. Let us become the example that is shared in the Shastra. So then we will bring about a change. So with this, we are ready to move into what is the 17th Adhyay of the Gita. Hari. Yes, Hari Om. Sorry, this. Yes, screen is there, working. Yeah, all right. So in the 17th Adhyay, it again begins with a question. We will look at Arjuna's question and then see what Krishna says. The illustration we will see after the few shlokas are covered. So in the 17th Adhyay, Arjuna has a question. It is good Arjuna has a question, but this question is a question of a sadhak. It is not a skeptical question which Krishna was being asked before. Let us see what it is. Arjuna Uvacha. Krishna spoke about Shastra, isn't it? Follow the Shastra. Sometimes youngsters also feel, no, so many Shastras. What is this? I don't want to read a Shastra. Why should I read what a book? How I should behave? What is the need for reading a Shastra? Are they going to teach me how I am going to follow? And am I going to become a robot according to the program embedded in the Shastra? These are all questions that come in because people have these questions about Shastra. So Arjuna probably connected with Shastra, he asks a question about the Shastra only. The main reason children have this question also is because they see people reading Shastras but not following them, and then they wonder, is this Shastra very useful or is it not? Let us see. Arjuna Uvacha. Ye Shastra vidhimutsrajya yajante shraddhayanvitaha tesham nishta tu ka Krishna sattva maho rajastamaha. Arjuna asked, Oh Krishna, what about those? What about those who follow not the scripture? They have said, I don't want to follow the scripture. What about those people? He adds a little bit more. He's actually looking like he's taking their side completely in this. He says, what about those who follow not the scripture and yet perform sacrifices with faith of the highest stature? Meaning Shraddha is there. But मैं ये नहीं पढ़ूंगा और मैं ये नहीं पढ़ूंगी और मैं I will not, because scripture is saying what is their nature is what Arjuna is asking. What about those who follow not the scripture and yet perform sacrifice with the faith of the highest stature? What is the underlying nature of their devotion? Which of the three? Sattva, Rajas or Tamas is their action. How is such a karma of a person who is not following the scriptures but performing sacrifices and having Shraddha? Saying, I'll do according to my understanding, according to I have Shraddha in the divine, but I will follow what I want to follow. What about such a person? Is this a question, a good question, a logical question? Yes or no? Or is it somewhere relatable also? Anybody? Yes? No? Can someone tell me?
Yes, it's very relatable.
Why is it, Rachnaji? Why a little bit more on why is it relatable? You can just say.
Yeah, I think because mostly what happens is we are so much fed by quotes on Instagram and like so much of small pieces of information about how to heal yourself. You know,
Yes,
there are so many life coaches available. So
Yes,
people
yes.
stopped like following a guru or relying on a scripture. So that dilemma
Yes.
is always there. And then which scripture is right, which guru is worth following, all of that.
Yes, so these are all questions. Absolutely. Rachnaji has told, because there's so many options, so many things coming in how do we separate information from knowledge? Information, how is it going to be properly understood? And then sometimes people get fed up. They say, no, I'll follow my heart, what my heart is going to say. I'll follow my inner voice. But then inner voice also sometimes there's a problem, isn't it? Which inner voice is it? It's like somebody who is on a diet, inner voice starts saying, let's have burgers also and pizzas also. Is it divine inner voice or is it? So that's a problem. So that is why scriptures have been talked about. So let us follow. But with scripture, Rachnaji has told a very practical question. A lot of people feel and people actually get a hatred. One participant actually told me, I don't like scriptures which tell people to do some certain things. I said, okay, what is the reason? She said, I was told to do upas for my husband. Kadwa Chauth. I was like, okay. She says, I don't do it anymore. I eat more heavily and I eat especially extra on Kadwa Chauth. Now, is it wrong? So I thought there must be some background because a very strong sanskara she's having when she was talking about it. So I asked her what happened is it was like her mother-in-law had told her to fast when she was not able to fast. It gave her, a lot of headache and then she fainted. From then onwards, she got very angry about it. So then I said, it is. You have to understand if you are feeling it, Krishna is not told anywhere, forced or ordered. You must follow the scripture. If you're not, it's all right. It's okay. But don't go telling people, don't let them follow if they want to. Somebody asks you, you tell, because of this reason, I don't like it. That is fine. That is your lived experience. But interestingly, at the end of 18 Adhyay, she sent me a book on scriptures and their significances and rituals. What are the purposes of rituals? She is talking about that afterwards. So she's not that light. But first, to understand it, it is important. Why? Why should we look at it? So Arjuna has asked this question and he's not doubting the Shraddha of the individual, but he's saying, what is the nature of Shraddha then? Is it sattvic? This feeling, because Shraddha is there, no? There's a belief that devotion is not destroyed. Devotion is there inside of that person. But there is a strong feeling of not following scripture. So what will you call it, Krishna? Will you call it a sattvic way? Will you call it a rajasic way? Or will you call it tamasic? Krishna replies, Sri Bhagavan Uvacha, Trividha Bhavati Shraddha, Dehinam Sa Swabhavaja, Satviki Rajasi Chaiva, Tamasi Cheti Tam Shrunu. Krishna says a triple combination of natures, it may be told. So three gunas are not leaving us. They are going to come everywhere. 17th Adhyay also, even in 18th Adhyay, Krishna now tells, he says it's a combination of all three, Sattva, Raja and Tamas. Listen, for I shall verily explain their faith threefold. Whichever of the three qualities is dominant, in that being, that nature of faith is predominant. It depends on the swabhava. This is a beautiful aspect in Sanatana Dharma, which identifies each person has a swabhava. Your sadhana will happen according to your swabhava only. Even if you say Parshuram will be like Parshuram only, isn't it? You cannot say Parshuram to become like Hare, be like Sri Ramchandra, Kripalu, Shanta. No, he will behave that way. Krishna will behave like Krishna and do all the mischief. Bal Krishna and Bal Sri Rama so different. Bal Krishna is known for all the mischief. But our Maryada Purushottama, when he was young also, everybody wanted to still feel like touching his feet because he was always in that great Sanyam. So each person has a Swabhava. So Krishna says, according to the Swabhava, even Shraddha is having a stamp of the Gunas. It is a combination, Sattva, Raja and Tamas. I will tell you clearly. So Krishna has not quickly given one word answer or labeled a person Sattvic, Rajasic or Tamasic. He's saying it's a combination. Let us see. He goes on further. Sattvanurupa sarvasya Shraddha bhavati bharata Shraddha mayoyam purusho yo yat Shraddha sa eva saha. So we'll probably look at only two more shlokas after this. This is a very important shloka of the Gita. This is as beautiful as that Shraddhavan Labhate Jnanam, or sometimes there are certain shlokas which are worth meditating upon. They are as great as Mahavakyas only. Samatvam Yoga Uchchate Yoga Karmasu Kaushalam. Like that, this shloka also is beautiful. It is Shraddha Mayoyam Purusha Yo Shraddha Sa Eva Saha. Oh Arjuna, the faith in every being is distinct, depending purely on the soul's natural instinct. Made up of faith is the inner embodiment living. However, his faith is, that way is the being. However, your Shraddha is, that way you are going to experience. Two people I know, one was a friend, one was a relative. Both went to the same place why people go basically for Shraddha Kriya only they go when they go to Varanasi and all. Both went at the same time, but both had a very different experience. One person, was complaining, what a place, everything has become commercial. These people are waiting. They are just waiting to rob you of the money. They are trying to tell you all rituals and steal all the money. The other person is having tears in the eyes because suddenly an unknown person invited and gave a Rudrabhishek also. This person felt throughout the way I was being led. My entire journey I had come to India to experience something, and now I am getting such an experience as if I am being taken around. And that person actually had a first time experience of a Rudrabhishek. It was so beautiful that tears started flowing, and just randomly because that person was having that perception. So same place, same time, two different people, two different experiences. What is the difference here? Can someone tell me why? There is only one aspect which is making a difference. And there is a difference of an entire experience. That is a perception of the individual. What made a difference? Can someone tell me what could have been the difference there? Same place, nothing different. One person doesn't feel even 1 ounce of holiness. He says, that person told, I'll never ever come to this place again. Another person says, oh, so beautiful, I will always remember this place. What could have been the reason there, which is different? What made all the difference? Anyone? It is there in the shloka also, actually. The hint is there. Yes, Dhirajji.
Maybe their mindset and Shraddha.
Absolutely. Yes, Dhirajji. Shraddha. Shraddha is what is going to understand, is going to make a big difference in our life also. And here Krishna is saying each person is having a distinct Shraddha. Shraddha inside of me. I'll not say you have Shraddha like how I am having. Is it possible? No. There are 3 primary colors, but then they get so many variations, isn't it? Anybody in the designing field, you will see so many codes for each color. So many 1,000 color combinations are possible from 3 primary colors. Like that, Shraddha is so distinct in each and every person. You, me, everyone might have a different Shraddha. Someone will say, I will offer flowers like whichever way I want. Another person told me, please don't offer flowers with the, flowers should be facing the divine. Don't let the flowers face you. I said, oh, I think, are you talking about humility, or it is not for show, it is for us. No, I said, I don't want the other end of the flower to poke the divine. Now, I cannot laugh because that is a Shraddha of that person. I cannot say, ki, Arey, what is this? This is the creator of the universe. He is going to get poked with the flower. And another person also told, I like to see the flowers around my divine because this is my joy. Even God, let God experience from my side what I am seeing. Well, this is a Shraddha. Everywhere a person has a different Shraddha. And this is the beautiful aspect that each person is allowed. Sanatana Dharma allows it. Each has a chance, each has a freedom, each has a choice. Choose your own Aradhya. Sometimes people choose multiple Aradhyas also. Krishna is not saying anything. No other Shastra is saying, go to Rigveda. You say, I don't like Indra, I don't like Varuna, I don't like Agni. I want all of them together. There is a Sukta for Vishwa Devas also. All Devas together. So whatever it is, the Shraddha is completely depending on the nature of that individual. However that person's Shraddha is, that person is like that. Meaning, this is the constitution of a person's existence. However, the Shraddha is, that person is going to behave like this. I had a friend of mine, he said, I don't like any religious place. Keep me away from religious place because I get irritated. If you take me, I will start speaking things which will disturb everybody around. So we understand, we respect that Shraddha. That person is not taken there. Another person, even if on the road, he crosses a mosque also, he does prarthana. He crosses a church also, he does. He's like, nobody should get disappointed. I'll pray to all of them. Well, whatever Shraddha is, let that person go on because it is important. This is very important in our life. We must understand. We cannot impose Shraddha onto somebody. It is not possible. And Shraddha is the defining characteristic of a person. It is what is driving a person. So don't touch anybody's Shraddha. Shraddha's sthana must be respected. Whoever it is, we should always keep that, understand that. Why? Because that is the base. That is the embodiment of that person. Shraddha mayoya purushaha. What happens when you break the Shraddha? You are breaking that individual only. Psychologists also tell, don't go to try and alter anybody's state of consciousness just like that. You are lucky if that person is a neurotic person, that person will wound self. If that person is psychotic, that person will run after you. We had a neighbor who was a psychiatrist. His patient came and burnt his car just in anger because that was the nature. That was a psychotic patient. Well, whatever it is, a person's Shraddha, we cannot touch. That is what we can draw as an important aspect without touching anybody's Shraddha. Let us understand that everybody has the right to have their understanding, and let us go on further on the path. That is very important. Different people walk in different ways. That does not mean everybody should walk on the same way. Imagine if everybody walked the same way. Wouldn't it be boring? Absolutely. Go to a park, you will see, oh, this person is walking this way. Even walking, how people go for walks, that also is very interesting. Each person has a different way of walking. If somebody has observed on the street, you will see that. And from that, you can understand a lot from the body language also. Well, whatever it is, let it remain is what Krishna is saying. So I'll look at just one more shloka. We'll stop at fourth shloka. Yajante satvika devan yaksharangshansi rajasaha pretan bhutaganan yajante tamasa janaha. The men of sattva offer their oblations to the gods. The sattvic ones offer to the devas, different devas. They have prayers they offer to the divine. Who is Krishna talking about? The sattvic worshippers. Because the question was regarding the worship. What is the nature of worship? When Krishna says sattvic ones to the gods. Those of rajas to the brute beings and wealthy demigods. One person actually told me, don't worship Saraswati. You have to worship Lakshmi first. Then you worship Ma Saraswati. Because Ma Lakshmi will give you wealth. Wealth is more important. Then you can use your wisdom to invest properly that wealth. So have prayers to Ma Saraswati afterwards. Many people say it's better to have worship to Kubera than to Shiva. Look where Shiva is. Look where Kubera is. Well, that is Rajasic nature. I want strength. I want this. It's like, if you see, you have to have that. There are different prayers offered to the divine, aspiring for certain things. That is all fine. But the Rajasic prayers are those which are always wanting something in return. The Sattvic ones, they are offered to devas without asking anything in return. The Tamasic prayers, mostly, the beings of Tamas, they offer where? To the restless spirits. To the restless spirits, they offer their prayers. And to the deceased beings roaming in the subtle layers. So that is a tamasic prayer. Prayer is offered for those, like tantric ones, they offer to the elements only, isn't it? They offer to the Panchama Bhutas. They offer to the deceased ones. They say, I will not go to a temple. I will not go to a beautiful, bright spot. I would rather go to a place where it is dark. I would rather go to a place which is where there is a cremation done, or I would go to some shmashan, I will go to some graveyard, that is where I will do sadhana. Well, that is the nature of a tamasic person. So a person of that Shraddha. Again, our ghoris are also accepted and respected, isn't it? Yes or no? In our tradition, we understand that. That is also a prayer. That is also a type of prayer. Well, Rajasic also, some prayers are like... actually, there are certain prayers where they are called. If you have a challenge and they say, I need it. If you see Rudra Abhishekam also, Rudra is so powerful. There's a chamakam there. Shanchame, Mayashchame, Priyanchame, Nukamashchame, Kamashchame, Somarashchame, Bhadramchame, Shreyashchame, Yashashchame. I want Bhadra, auspiciousness. I want Shreya. So many such things. And last, Sushachame, Sudinanchame. A good day. I want a good day also. Ultimately, that is the prayer. So these are all different prayers. So according to the guna is having a stamp on the Shraddha, but overall each person's Shraddha is unique. So that is something we must understand. We must respect that. So with this, we stop here. So Arjuna's question was, what about the Shraddha of that person? Well, let that person have that Shraddha. It's not your question. Why is this person having this type of Shraddha, or that person is having that type of Shraddha? Let us focus on ours. Our focus is that, and the main reason why we don't want to disturb somebody else is the same fact that it is a very personal aspect. It is a very core aspect. It is a very secret aspect which should not be touched. There was from the ashram, because in the Sri Aurobindo ashram, they talk about transcending rituals. So that is an important aspect. Sometimes you get limited by that only. If you see, even in rituals also, there is a spirit. If Bilva Patra is not available, you are doing Shiva Abhisheka, you want these many Bilva Patras, you don't have 108 Bilva Patras, what to do? The Shastra gives an injunction. The Shastra says, offer the same Bilva Patra again 108 times. while you are doing. Again, pour water, again offer it. Again, Shuddha, again offer it. Because it is the aspect of offering that is important. So here, when the mother had talked about transcending rituals, go beyond rituals, one person, one sadhak who had gone to teach principles of Sri Aurobindo's philosophy, went and started saying, these are all fools who are offering flowers. These are all foolish people who are thinking about the past and cultures, all ancient aspects. Then that person had to be brought to, the mother had also intervened and said, you don't have the right, you cannot introduce a new Shraddha into someone just like that, or you cannot force onto somebody. Because what are you doing? You are pulling away the lifeboat of a person, isn't it? If a person is swimming and is holding on to something, unless that person has got something else to hold on to, can you pull out what is supporting that individual? Imagine a person is living according to a particular principle, maybe correct, maybe wrong, different. And that person is living a life, maybe not the ideal life according to you. But you suddenly pull that out, what's going to happen? The person will be like in a frustrated state, no? Not understanding what to do. So that is why Gita also, when does Krishna start telling Arjuna, his own beloved, dear friend, whom he loved, someone he had offered everything, he had become the charioteer. He was like, Krishna loved Arjuna so much. But Krishna did not start telling Arjuna the Bhagavad Gita immediately. He started when Arjuna wanted to hear it. So somebody asks you, come and requests you, please tell me, I don't know, I need direction. Then you give direction. Because this person is ready to hold on to something else. Otherwise, you will trigger that person only and that person will become your permanent enemy. You don't have to break somebody's Shraddha. Or you might break that person also. Sometimes the person becomes disturbed and disappointed also. So this is an important aspect which we saw about Shraddha. We are going to see that 3 gunas which we saw earlier, which were introduced, how they are affecting our life. These 3 gunas are governing us in more ways than we know. They are also, right now we saw that Shraddha is being governed by the gunas also. This Adhyay is going to a little bit elaborate on the same. So on Monday, we will look at this and we'll try to complete this Adhyay at the most by Tuesday. And next week, our 18th Adhyay should also be completed. So with this, I conclude with the Shanti Mantra. Anybody has any queries, any questions, you are most welcome after the mantra. Hari Om. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kashchit dukkha bhag bhavet. Hari Om Tat Sat. Krishna Mande Jagat Gurum. Hari Om. Yes, please.
Hari Om, sir.
Hari Om ji. Namaste.
Hari Om.
Hari Om ji. Hari Om ji. Hari Om ji. Any queries? Most welcome. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om.
Hari Om ji. Namaste ji. Namaste. Any queries? If not, I'll conclude this session.
Hari Om.
All right. Hari Om ji. Namaste, Hari ji. Hari Om.